In this video I'm showing images of red grouse and other moorland birds photographed using the OM1. In this video I'm looking at photographing a red grouse. I'm up on the Yorkshire Moors. I'm using one of my favourite ways of actually photographing birds, and that's photographing from the car, using the car as a mobile hide. Generally speaking, if you drive slowly around some of the country lanes across the Yorkshire Moors, you can get really quite close to birds, providing you use the car as a hide, stay in the car and photograph from a beanbag on the window. What I'm using today is the OM1, and I'm using a 300mm f4 combined with a 1.4 converter. So basically the thing you do is you drove very slowly along the moorland road, country roads in second gear, looking ahead for any signs of birds. I'd been here probably half an hour. I've done probably about 4 or 5 miles along this road before I actually found first of all I found a lapwing. It wasn't in the greatest location, it was a bit messy and there was some vegetation in the front. But then about 10 minutes later I came across a little family of red grouse that were feeding on the heather there. It's mid-June and they haven't really developed that much yet. This adult and its chicks were completely oblivious to me, providing that I stayed in the car. There was enough space for me to pull into the side of the road and still have cars pass me by. Often grouse will be initially further away than would be ideal, but if you wait patiently, they will sometimes come within range for photography. So what you do is drive along the road slowly in second gear, and you're constantly looking up ahead, looking to see if there's any signs of grouse or lapwings or anything like that. It gets a little bit of a problem when you have cars coming up and down. It's best to do this early in the morning before you get too much traffic. It's the afternoon today, but that's just a situation I couldn't do any other time. But it's quite overcast, so you've got quite soft lighting, so that means that I can shoot either side of the car. When you're driving along, you're in the driver's side. Ideally what you want to be photographing from them is this side here, because then you can rest the lens on the beanbag. But you have both windows open, that one's open as well, so sometimes you'll see, you don't know which side they're going to be on, so you can photograph here from the beanbag, but if you see one over there you can just turn around and use it. And because the image stabilizing so good on this lens and camera combination, I can handhold very easily. At this time of year, when a lot of ground nesting moorland birds have young, it's best to stay in the car. They will sometimes come closer, but you will have to accept that you may have to crop into the pictures. There is a temptation to get out of the car and try and stalk the grouse, and sometimes this can work well. When they have young, it's best to stay in the car so you do not disturb them. When driving along the road, it's best to have a pair of binoculars with you. Sometimes you will see birds a distance away, and although they're too far away to photograph, it's always nice to observe them. The weather was quite cloudy, but with both windows wound down, this meant I could easily shoot out of both sides of the car. In sunny conditions, you ideally want to have the sun over your shoulder, so that the bird is in good light. In these conditions, you sometimes see a bird on the wrong side of the road, where you would have to shoot into the light. In this situation, it's best to drive on past the bird until you find a space where you can turn the car around and drive back. This also works when you find a bird that is too close. Sometimes birds are very close to the side of the road indeed, and it's best to drive on, turn the car around and drive back slowly, and then photograph them from slightly further away. You will occasionally see smaller birds quite close to the roadside, and these can look quite attractive when perched up on top of the heather. Ideally, what I'd hoped to find was golden plover. I did manage to see one with my binoculars, but it was far too far away to get a decent shot of it. Maybe if I had the 150-400 I could have used the built-in 1.4 converter, but I'm still waiting for that lens to come through. The best time to photograph grouse on the moorlands is early in the morning. At this time they can be right by the side of the road. Unfortunately, on this occasion the only option I had was to photograph in the afternoon. This was because I was in Yorkshire to primarily try out the OM1 for birds in flight at Bempton Cliffs. And this is what the next video will be about. So I'm going to finish up showing some stills of moorland birds taken on a previous visit to the Yorkshire Moors back in 2018 when I was using the OM1 Mark II. This was shortly after my decision to change to the Olympus Micro Four Thirds system. On that occasion we were fortunate enough to find an area where there were golden plovers. They are magnificent birds with lovely coloration on their plumage. We had been told that this was a particularly good location for them. All the pictures in this section were taken handheld with the 300mm plus the MC14 converter. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Please check out some of my other YouTube videos and subscribe to my channel to be notified of future uploads. Thanks for watching.